What's good, everyone? Welcome back to My First Kicks. I stopped saying episode numbers because I'm behind one episode that I recorded in the studio, but we back in the studio and I got a special guest, Jay Tips. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. You know, Uptown Savior, you know, at the Bless the Podcast.
You already know. Yeah, I mean, look, you've been making the rounds and I was like, yo, what about me?
You know, we had to do it, man. You know, it's certain things that make you sanction in the sneaker community. So I had to be here with you.
Oh man, I appreciate that. That's high praise, Jesus. I've never heard that. But yo, first of all, gotta say, you know, look, I'm wearing them.
Yeah.
You know, you were right, half size. I should have went half size up, and they hurt.
It hurt. Yeah. You know, it's funny. It's funny how when you like work on shoes, it's just certain things like you don't even know until you kind of get into it, and it's like the running true to size, half size up. Like usually from a consumer point, like you could tell people that, but from like the person where it's my shoe, it's like that was a tough one to kind of deal with, telling everybody like, yo, don't buy your size, buy the next size up.
I messed up because I guess I missed it when I was in line at Complex Con, and that was like our second time meeting. I posted the video of us, me asking you a couple of questions out there, and then I mean I feel like we kind of connected for real out there. So it was dope to when I won, I was like, I'm a cop, and I wanted to get both, and I pulled up and I did not know about the half size. So I was just like, yo, but they still fire. So I was just like, forget it. I'm just gonna rock it.
Man, you got an old school, man. Pull an insole out or something.
Mikey was telling me I got to pull the insole. I was just like, nah, forget it. I'm gonna just do it. But yo, you know, you've been making the rounds, like I said, and I've been wanting to talk to you for a good minute because your journey has been inspiring, and
appreciate it.
You know, every single time I go into like a Twitter space or anything that deals with sneakers, you are always brought up because of your impact on the current game and the way that when I talk to you at CompassCon about like, you know, bringing community back. And that's one of my big things about starting this podcast of just like, let's have these conversations, not let's just be always about what's the new shit coming out, you know? So I've always wanted to talk to you like in full length about that and coming like where'd you come from? Because you know we both from New York, but and we were making lines all the time, you know, back in the day. So
I'm a student of the game. Speaking of Twitter Spaces, I was listening to one the other day on Anonymous just to see like how people speak about certain things and stuff. Like I'm definitely not an ego guy, so sometimes I try to stay away from stuff just so I get tunnel vision, but it's like you mentioned, when it comes to community, man, I've come from working retail. I've come from collecting. I've come from conventions. I've come from being online. I've come from working in the store. I've come from resale. I've come from like even just notoriety when it comes to just the sneaker community. Like I've been featured for like my collection and like books and nice kicks and stuff like that. So, and then even with my music, I've made like songs about being a collector and stuff like that. So to be honest, I think that the reason why a lot of people like resonate with my story and my journey is because usually the sneaker head loves sneakers. And I think that you can see somebody with an opportunity that, you know, comes from the same cloth that most likely you come from is something to be honorable. And that's why like I hold myself in high regard of being responsible, because it's not only am I trying to make good product and tell good stories, it's also like I'm not just selling to this community. I represent this community. So if I went on this level, maybe people realize and these companies realize there's more diamonds in the rough and there's more people that can be able to win this way. Yeah,
that's something that I always look up to. You know, I mean, looking up to you seems very weird. Be like, we're the same age. And be like, we look up to each other. But I mean, the way that the community comes around and then your path of just like, I mean, it gives everybody hope. It gives somebody who's just, you know, just starting to get into sneakers, like somebody that goes to Brother D's school sneaker things where he breaks down the Kobe's and stuff like that, like where, you know, that little kid can be like, look at you and be like, oh shoot, I can put out my own shoe too, you know? So
no, trust me, man. I didn't have it all figured out. And I think that's something that I like to really like make sure that's clear. I think a lot of people just try to tell you only the upside of their story, but I didn't have it all figured out. Like even for you just say like we connected at Complex Con, man. There was years where it was like we figure it out when we get there. Like, but I need to be around people in this industry because I don't know what I necessarily can do, but I know that that's where they're gonna be, and that's like the same people I'm trying to DM or same like stores that I'm trying to get shoes from. That's when like the owners and stuff is gonna be in the right spot, and maybe I could wait on a line for 6 hours, 5 hours, and make a connection, and people remember me for just shopping. So I didn't even, to be honest, man, half a decade ago, I didn't even have it like figured out as far as even my direction. So. I don't think anybody should like trip up on like, am I doing the right thing? Am I just like just constant progress? Keep working on stuff because like, man, it's been days where I didn't even know how I was gonna like get back from Soho unless I got a size and I could go drop it off at round 2, or I can go, you know, sell it quick at somewhere just because it was like, yo, it's rough right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like I just think that my journey is just one of just overcoming and just figuring it out, man. And I feel like everybody, no matter what you're doing, figure it out.
No, yeah, for sure. But you're here to answer the question. Yeah, hard pivot. Sure. I'm known for these hard pivot. Here to ask a question that I ask everybody each week, and you may have answered already. What's your first kicks? What's that first pair of sneakers you absolutely needed to have?
The first shoe I absolutely needed to have, I would say would be I don't even know the nickname of them, but they're the white and red 13s with the black outsole, like the black, white and red. I don't even know the nickname.
Not that he got games.
No, they're not the he got games because they're 13? White. They're white, red, and then the outsole is black.
White, red, outsole is black.
They might. I don't even remember which one it was.
Maybe I'm confusing the 13s. 13s are
13s. I could probably show you a picture.
Yeah, I should probably just show you a
picture.
But I was like, is it the? I have like weird nicknames for all the Jordans, so I don't know if I'm like, oh, is that the vampire shoe? Or
no, they're like I should have just lied and said something more easy for us to go through.
Nah.
But
yeah. But so white red with black outsole.
Yeah, I just remember being in school and I was in second grade when the Jordan 13s came out, and I just remember that was around the time that I was seeing these OG Chicago. Yeah, OG Chicago. Yeah, so I just remember seeing another kid in the hallway, and I just remember like, yo, I need those. Like, and I remember going home and kind of, it's funny because that's my muscle memory. I probably described them the way I just described them to you, to my mom. And I was like, yo, they came out, they're white and red. And at that age, it's like, you know, it's all about sustainability. So your mom is like, you know, you're going to get them dirty. You're not going to wear them all the time. But I was like, no, I need those. And that was probably like first shoe I really needed to have.
That's great. And you always lived in the Bronx your whole entire life?
Yeah, man, I lived in the Bronx my whole life. Mostly in the same section too. I moved to the North Bronx when I was 9. I was living before that we was living in Soundview. Like my family was there for like 20 plus years. And
yeah, my boy, I'm friends with my boy Hooli. He said he used to run with you and T-Mark all the time.
Oh, where? Yeah. Nah, I used to like, man, I was all around the Bronx, but like just from Soundview to North Bronx, and then just like then my dad moved to like by Allerton, and then I went to like high school in Truman and Co-op City. I recorded like my first album in like Idawal Projects. Like, man, I'm Bronx through and through, man. It's probably not too many parts of the Bronx that I can't really say that I've explored throughout my life.
So what got you into actually rapping? I feel like you don't get a chance to really talk about you know, your journey into actually becoming a rapper.
Yeah, no, man, it was peer pressure, to be honest. I love music. Music may be the only thing that I loved as long as I've loved shoes. I just remember being very young, and you know, my mom was young. My mom was early 20s, and just a very soulful house. Like it's very like Music Soul Child, Darnell Jones, John B.
You play some Music Soul Child. I'm singing every single lyric, Jesse, bro. That's my guy.
No, for real, like Jesse Powell, like just a lot of like people that was really like crooning on records. But she was really, really like avant. Like she was playing everything, and I think through that I kind of learned like what I liked about music and what I was enjoying about music. And from that point on, and just like my friends started rapping and they was going to the studio, and I just wanted to give it a shot. I wanted to to write like a 16 or something like that because some of my boys used to be in the lunchroom and they would like just diss each other and like rap styles and talk about how you don't get no girls and how your clothes is whack and stuff. And I just wanted to be able to say something back one day, and I just realized that it was like just a shot of adrenaline, and I enjoyed it. And I just wanted to see what it was about, and I just kept chasing that high and just trying to figure out what I could do with it.
And like, how did you end up like going to like open mics or doing shows? Like, were you like pulling up to end of the week or, you know?
Everything, man. Yeah. I was doing open mics. I was doing like showcases. I was traveling. I did like South by Southwest like 6 years in a row in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Like I headlined like SOBs, which was pretty big. I did like I did a few different places. I did what's this place called? I forgot what's the name of Hammerstein Ballroom.
Oh, you did Hammerstein Ballroom?
Like, I think it was like for Sneaker Pimps.
Oh, snap. Yeah. I think I might have been there.
Bro, I was performing at like Dunk Exchanges. I was doing a lot of different like ways to kind of put myself out there. And like I opened for like ASAP Ferg in Atlanta. I did like in my crib, I got like a lot of flyers that I was on, and it's like when you look at it, sometimes you see the big names and you be like, oh, that was J Tips on that flyer. But I was figuring it out. I did shows in Montreal and Miami and Atlanta and like I said, North Carolina. Like I was trying to figure it out, and I think that I was just trying to go an unconditional route too, because I think the same way that like people kind of talk about me when they talk about like how I am navigating through the sneaker industry. I wasn't like the person that was trying to do anything other than showcase my hard work. So like a lot of like the industry mixes and stuff, I'm like, nah, I'm just going to studio. I'm just going to keep making records. I'm just keep doing everything. So I just like music taught me a lot about how to keep it going and how to just keep firing and keep firing and keep firing. And I think that's what people might enjoy about what I'm doing on the fashion scene now, that how music taught me to just keep working. Don't take things personal. Some nights everybody's cheering for you, and some nights everybody's on their phone. Like, you know what I'm saying? So just keep going. No,
the ability to keep throwing something at the wall and not be discouraged is probably the most hardest ability to create, because it's that you have to take so many notes in order to create that thick skin, because if you see it enough, you're like, damn, man, I don't want to do this no more. You know, like you be like the door's been shut and closed. Like I've known so many people that give music a try and then they'll be like, nah, man, you know, nobody's putting me on these bills and nobody's doing this. And I'm just like, you just keep going.
But to me, and as maybe this will be advice to them is, it was never about the results. Trust me, the results would make a lot of things feel better and make a lot more sense to like the people that believe in you. And I think that's even now with like lists and when people are like ranking things, it's like that stuff does a lot for the people that believe in you more than it kind of does for like your work. Like a lot of us work on our projects and we put a lot of hours and put a lot of time into it, but that stuff helps the supporters win arguments in the barbershop. But they're like, you see what he's at on that list? Like, you know, so stuff like that does help. But it's also like, it was always to me about putting in the work. If you build the ship, either people got to get on it or they don't get on it, but it's in the water. And I just think that I just always was like that. I always just showed up a professional. I did what I was going to do. If there was a business on the side of it, when it came to like whether they were going to pay you per ticket sales, or like even if somebody wanted $100 to write about you on the blog or a few $100s to do something, like I understood what the value of it was, and it was either do it or don't do it.
Yeah.
And it's just the music industry for independent artists is tough because everybody kind of eats off of it more than you. But I guess when people really break through, they start to benefit a little bit more. So coming up is tough, but you know, you got to kind of figure out your way.
No, yeah. What was it? Were you like packing heat to go to these shows? Like, were you, or did you have like a?
Oh no, I was always overdressed, man. I was like, think about it. The average like musician on the come up was probably like 8 Mile Eminem kind of like hoodie and like, some, you know what I'm saying, like jeans. Maybe some Levi's, some Vans, some Converse, some Air Force Ones for real. Like, and man, I had on Yeezy 1s. I'm having on Yeezy 2s. Like I'm having on like some Supreme. some just different BBC Bape options. Like I'm pulling up to it was a guy. I'm not, I actually hope he's well. I hope he hears this or something. His name was Deadstock Rick. He used to do he used to do his sneaker show, and he used to have a rap element. And I used to he always used to be like, yo, Tips, if you want to perform or whatever, you want to perform in a table. I'd be like, nah, I just want to perform. And I just remember like looking at those pictures and just, man, I looked like I was Stolly back in the day. I looked like I was Wale. Like people don't know I wasn't on or not. I had on new Bape hoodie. I had on like I forgot I had like maybe a staple fitted on, and I just had like I looked like one of the 5 people in the building. You couldn't tell anybody that I just showed up and I just got my 5 minutes on the stage and then I had to leave. Like just because I just was really, really like inspired by people who looked the part, and that at that age that was like Wale, Kid Cudi, and Stolly and stuff like that. So I just wanted to just keep dominating, man.
Is your inspiration from that era of like the internet and Wale and Kid Cudi going crazy with Bape and Soho downtown, or was it a lot of like just Bronx style that just rubbed off on you?
Man, I would say a lot of my style, like the style influences had to be like early, like Wale, Kid Cudi, and like even just straight up Pharrell. Like I remember the first time I seen Bapes was in a magazine. I remember one of my boys told me why he wasn't staying in school the whole day, because he was like, these come out today. And I just remember him going to Soho, getting the Bapes and wearing them to school the next day and explaining to everyone why his Air Force Ones have a star. Like I just remember he was doing it. It was my man Norm. Like he was just that person that was just so forward and like understanding. Like, nah, this is what we supposed to be wearing. And this is actually fly. Like he was probably the first person I seen put a lot of the like Lacoste down and pick up Bape tees and put like, when people was going into the Tigras and Izod polos and stuff, he was like, nah, bro, like we gonna get this full zip hoodie and we gonna get that. And it's just, so I think it kind of does go hand in hand with like Bronx style, because this was before like the internet and stuff. Like it was people in my neighborhood that looked just like everybody on the magazines and stuff. And I don't know how they was getting it. I don't know how they was getting this money, because remember those were $600, $400, $300 jackets. Yeah, people would fly. That's one thing about the Bronx. People always figured it out.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember the first time I pulled up there, and I was just like, you wearing a Murr like that? And I was just like, all right, cool.
See little kids right now go hop the train in a full Bape hoodie and Mary jeans or something, and they make you question life. You just be like, yo, I like this in high school, but you'll see. I went to Pizza Hut. Kid had on the Chrome Heart hoodie. Like, I got questions about authenticity of that.
I always get questions. I'm always just like, I'm like, all right, this might be a Panda buy right there.
Yeah. But the Bronx is just like, I guess like the fashion kind of hide the scars pretty much.
No, yeah. I think that's because I mentioned on the last episode, like seeing a Ferragamo belt for the first time. It was definitely a kid from the Bronx, where he was just like, he had this shirt tucked in so you could see the F. And I'll be like, man, I don't know what that is. And then he was like, nah, you don't know what Ferragamo belt is?
I could talk about growing up in the Bronx in fashion for so long, man. I remember 10th grade, it was a girl, I don't want to say her name, but she had a different pair of Maury's and patent leather Pradas every day. Every day. Like before someone could even tell you like, yo, Prada got new patent leather 2 tones, she would just walk into chemistry class with it. Like I never understood just the aspect of like, yo, how can you even have this kind of money?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just little stuff like that. But growing up in the Bronx is very interesting on the fashion side, I would say.
I've known you for the Savior brand and your hats. I remember I wanted to bring this up. Like COVID happened, and that article about you, pink brims, blue brims, everybody. And I feel like I'll put the stake in the ground for this, and I'll stand on this. But I think y'all the reason that hat stuff is popping as much as it is right now. That article, I felt like really pushed a lot of people to be like, yo, can I get a hat? And started pushing around, started to get people in the hat club, getting people doing New Era's like giving accounts at this point, being like, yo, let's do this. So I mean, I'm very curious of like how did you jump into it? I know you had your time at Hat Club. So then now like, you have your own hat with New Era.
Yeah, no, good question. It's an interesting time because it's actually I'm pulling up on a 5-year anniversary of me creating like Savior hats, and to me that's what I was doing, man. I was getting it out the mud. I was trying to find unique colors of Yankee hats. I was trying, and it's crazy because like Frosty and them, they had their own story. They had their own parallel of like what they were doing with the pink bottoms and stuff. But me, I was going into the dungeons, the depths of stores, and I was like, yo, how many red Yankees do you have? How many green? How many blue? How many stuff? And I would just, I'm telling you, I'm getting a few hats from Fordham Road in the Bronx. I'm getting a few from Queens. I'm getting a few from eBay. I'm getting a few from stuff. And sometimes even the shade of green is a little bit off because I'm getting them from different places. Yeah. And like, then I just put Savior on them and do a full drop. And I just started to get so much attention off of like, yo, when you doing something else, And then like, I was just trying to, like, I would pretty much, if you think about it, like, this is what a reseller's trying to do to any store in America. Like stores can't sell it. So I'm going into it, just putting Savior on the back of it. And the thing about that was always so special about hat stores, except Hat Club, because Hat Club is in Soho.
Right.
But every other hat store's in the hood. Every hat store. Like you can't tell me a hat store that's not in a sketchy part of a neighborhood. So you putting these hats on the internet and you going viral, people don't even know where to get gray brims from.
Right.
They don't know where to get blue brims and green bottoms and stuff. Like every single, like they only knew Hat Club because they can go to Hat Club on their way to Flight Club or something like that.
Or Blades during the time. Yeah.
So to me, it was, I found a nice lane for myself. And then one day I was in the city and I went in a Hat Club just to kind of see what they had going on. And that's when somebody recognized me for the bespoke that I made with Nike. And they were just talking to me in the store about the bespoke, talking to me about like, if Nike's gonna make the shoe and stuff. And at that point, it's just all like, oh, I don't know. Like, you don't know, maybe one day, like you never know. And then Justin, who was the store manager at the time, he was like, oh, let me see the shoe. And I guess one thing that popped out about him was how colorful it was. So he was just like, yo, you make hats, you do this. You ever interested in doing something with us? Like we're starting to do like friends and family kind of drops where it's like, you could kind of like, we make an order of the hats and then maybe like you invite your friends and maybe they even like pre-order the hat and we just come celebrate, do a party in the store. And I was like, yeah, let's definitely like, let's explore the opportunity. But he was like, he probably couldn't put Savior on it and stuff. So at that point I was kind of like, should I do it? Should I get into something like this? And then I just thought about it. I was like, what's something I haven't seen? What's something I haven't done? Me and Justin came up with like two colorways. And I was like, maybe something I never told people before. Like one hat has a blue bottom, one hat has a pink bottom, because I was kind of like, I want to do these hats that people aren't really creating in these colorways, but I also want to show respect to what y'all got going on with the blue bottom and the pink bottom, instead of me being from the Bronx and I want a gray bottom. So we ended up doing the drop and it just pretty much blew up the internet. And to me, I got bittersweet feelings about that, because I think, it's not me alone, but a lot of us have paved the way for this hat business to go from like a few $100,000 into the millions, and to, just for it to be so lucrative. And so like some stores are now making purchase orders in the millions, and maybe their whole company wasn't even valued in the millions before. Like it's just been something that, like, I'll be honest, like I've got a ton of opportunities, and sometimes I've been on different platforms, and I say like, sometimes I think in the sneaker game I get compared to everybody in the world, but in the hat game I felt like I was Michael Jordan. Like I felt like I was trailblazing so much. Like I had hats at Complex Con and Sneaker Con, and we was on Business of Fashion, and we was on, like, there's documentaries and there's do stuff, but it's also like, look at all of our bank accounts. We benefited the least from it.
Right.
So it's just to me it's I'm bittersweet towards it, but I'm still navigating that industry and still trying to figure out like how to kind of still tell my story through headwear.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like, man, ain't no hat store closed in a pandemic because of a few of us, and that's not something that gets mentioned now when it's just a lot of other things going on. So I feel many ways, but it's also like I do think that I was a part of changing the entire hat landscape, and
I mean, I agree with that because
it is what it is, man. Like it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough for me sometimes to talk about it because it's a side of the game that people maybe don't know, but it's still trying to I'm still to this day figuring things out. Like if you knew, like I won a Collaborator of the Year award last year for footwear, but I still can't even get a Yankee hat to release officially because the Yankees just view me as an enemy of the brand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because of the Savior hats and stuff. So, we still working through all of that.
I mean, you'll get there. I think that, your name is ringing bells in the streets or whatever, and so
we'll figure it out, man.
The Bronx Bombers will be like, all right, we're gonna have J-Tips Day. So
maybe one day, but I'll probably tell you it wouldn't be anytime soon.
I mean, no, yeah. So, you're saying that, and I think now a lot of these chances that are being, with hat colorways and stuff like that, I definitely attribute it to you stepping out there and being like, yo, let's do this.
Man, whether it was everybody was coloring the patch, I was like, yo, turn the whole hat purple. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and people was, nobody's going to be like, he was the first one doing colors. Cause I was able to find them, but it's also like, we was doing. And when I started working with Hat Club on stuff, man, every single store in the world started doing that. And then I was like, you know what, how do I keep it going? Let me make the two tones. And then I made the colorful two tones. And now, like, man, you look back a few years now, it looks like that's just how the game is. Like, nobody's going to look at what I was doing and even feel like it's special because they may not even remember a time where it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
So it's just,
That's why. You make a straight valid point because now it's every day that now we see a different color hat or a different color team hat. When you used to go to Lids, you only had a selection of home and away, and that's it. Yeah. That's all you had, So
I've always and I think that's something that even people see through my Saucony projects now. I've always just tried to take something that is the way it is and really give it my spin, give it my flip. Like, I remember just when you look at like a lineup of other people who were working on hats and doing stuff at that time, and what was risky for them was changing the color bottom and maybe changing a few number of colors in the patch. Like, and I was like, nah, fuck that. Orange brim, black top, do this, do that. Like, just go crazy.
Yeah.
So, but shout out to everybody though.
Where does that creativity come from? Because like you're looking at things and people see, well, there's always going to be people in positions that will just see it black and white, but you seeing it in color.
I just kind of think that you have to think outside the box. I think I've always been a notorious mismatcher. Like, I've always kind of like looked at my clothes and thought this looked better together than kind of wearing something that all had the same just shade on it. But I've also just think that I've always kind of just colored outside the lines. And I think that being able to do that, maybe try to exercise it through music, but then see success through clothes. It was kind of like, I think that I have something here. Like, even with my brand Savior, like, it was always a point where it was like, all right, we're working on designs, but the stuff that's super duper, like inside the lines, like very clean, doesn't do as well for me as just something that I just took the iPad and hand drew and shaded the colors and put the colors here. Something that's just very, very grade schoolish, but it seemed like it was my lane. And just as I get better and older and more wise, I'm just learning how to kind of control that a little bit more.
No, yeah. You recently said, before you were talking about the list, so I definitely want to talk about, because I would like for you to expand it on an actual, like, instead of just like a tweet, 140 characters, but you tweeted, you don't like the way, how people are portraying it as like you're saving, That's hilarious.
Oh,
The double entendre there. You're saving Saucony and you're the savior of Saucony. You know, because I mean, I've had Jay on the podcast. I've known Jay personally for a bunch of years. So it's just like, you know, Jay puts in the time and the effort to try to like, with however much money he has, is to get in this, what he believes is the new wave of, you know, the sneaker culture. So
to me, it's like, and it has been something that for even going into last year, I started to realize like people's compliments sometimes are like very underhanded. Like they'll whisper congratulations to you, but then tell you be careful and do stuff like that. And you know, maybe they do that to everybody. Maybe they're saying that to every collaborator at every brand, but trust me, nobody has to tell me I have the road least traveled. Like I'm working through a brand that, you know, still trying to prove themselves in a lane. But Saucony, it bothers me because it's not like people aren't doing anything.
Right.
Like I'm not walking into the building and telling everybody what to do. Like people are like putting a lot of hours and clearing their schedules, and you know, we're picking materials and stuff together, and we're working on, you know, different samples and different things, and they're telling me how to amplify my ideas and how to, like, me and Jason, we have a lot of back and forth about, like, you know, me kind of taking on my wild ideas and kind of taming them and controlling them and just thinking deeper and different things like that. And when the congratulations comes, it's always people like having a cautionary tale about Saucony and the struggles and why they aren't New Balance and why they aren't people. And I just don't think that that's fair, because, you know, they work hard. Like they work hard, and it's an interesting thing that, like, when these people are showing up to work and without hype in mind, good product, good design, functional things, actionable plans, actionable rollouts, sincere partners, partners that reflect the brand and do things without hype, without clout, without like they're not stepping into any board meeting saying that, yo, if we can sign this person from this people and then we're gonna take over, we're gonna get this. Like, man, like they're people showing up to work just trying to do the job. And my projects have got a lot of attention and a lot of love and stuff like that, but each time that somebody talks about me, they're just like, but it's Saucony. But it's Saucony. And I just think that that's a little bit offensive, a little bit, because
that's
it's like
super offensive in my opinion.
Because it's like, you know, like you talking like it's Payless. Like, you know what I'm saying? You talking like it's you know,
not out, you made Starberries.
Yeah, you talking like it's Marshalls. Like, you know what I'm saying? You talking like it's straight out of TJ Maxx. And I just think that, you know, they have a lot in the vault. They have a lot of potential. They have a lot of growth ahead of them when it comes to just the right silhouettes releasing, the history of the brand being told a certain type of way, and the right partners and stuff. Like, that's why, like, even like the list and stuff, like I'm solely working with Saucony. Like no other brand is, I'm not holding back on another brand. No other brands giving me an opportunity. Nobody, like I've spoke with New Balance. You know, we've emailed with Asics. I've talked to Clarks. I've talked to Timberland. I've talked, everybody knows I've been in the buildings with Nike and figured things out. Nobody else has given me opportunity. So it's like, for like the press and like so much of people online is just like, you know, but it's Saucony. Like, what's the problem? And I just think that's kind of my point on it. Like, how come it can't be congrats to J Tips and Saucony, but it's more like, yo, J Tips is killing it and he's a bright name and he's doing this, but it's like, it's Saucony holding him back. I don't really agree, because I used to work at Foot Locker. So them big drops, we only getting 17 pairs, 18 pairs of that anyway. Like I'm pulling up to conventions with 300, 400 pairs. Like I was at Complex Con when Diamond Supply probably had 10 shoes and with 500 people online. Like, what
people screaming, running for them.
What does you know what I'm saying? What does the small brand and the big brand? What's even the comparison when it comes to stuff like that? If you're talking about behind the scenes stuff like media dollars and media buys and who's in whose pocket, and you're talking about stuff like that, like the consumer don't care about that, and Twitter don't care about that, and people don't care about that. Like, if you know that Saucony's not spending the kind of money other brands are spending for attention, then keep keep your argument over there.
Right.
But when it comes to us being in everybody's conversation and everybody still champion what we doing and we doing it with the way we doing it, then I think you should more congratulate it than just keep trying to discount it.
No, yeah, because I mean, you're getting awards, you're getting notice, but then I feel like the connotation is always this like, yeah, J-Tips is killing it, but it's like with Saucony, and it's like, why can't you be the front runner in that space?
You know, it's a crazy story, man. Yeah. When I worked at Foot Locker, we released Grinch Kobe's. We only had 12 pairs. I worked in the flagship store. Like, we were a $25 million store. So you could imagine how much money they're probably spending through Nike and spending. It's Foot Locker, so they probably spending a ton of money with Nike on through their accounts and stuff. And we had 12 pairs. And that's a shoe
first come, first serve, or
first come, first serve. And like we had 3 managers, and even that, like only one manager could get the shoe. Like even they had to raffle it amongst themselves to get that one pair. And I just like, when you just think about like what some of those shoes stand the test of time and how big they are for culture and things like that. Like, man, I give away more shoes on Twitter than I've seen stores release at Foot Locker and House of Hoops and 21 Mercer and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't even understand what's the comparison at this point.
I mean, we talk about how you build community, and I feel like that's the difference, right? Because they feel like the community will always be tapped in, right? Yeah. Versus let's build this and let's make this a thing. Like now, I mean, you tweeted out recently, sorry for being all over your Twitter.
No. This is what we're supposed to do, man.
But you tweeted out, the waiter hit me up. It's I didn't mean to do this, but it's August.
Yeah.
You know?
August is coming.
August is
here.
August is here.
August is definitely here, man.
And so, you know, it's just that way of like, everybody's anticipating your next shoe.
Yeah.
And so even with these, I remember my boy texted me he was like, I know you at ComplexCon. And I was just like, and he's just like,
yeah.
Wow, I said like 7 times right there. But he hits me up and he just goes, yo, get me a pair. And I'm like, bro, I can't travel with 2 pairs of sneakers, man. And he's just like, so until to this day, and I'm pretty sure he's probably gonna text me after this episode drops and goes, where's you got to put me in for the next pair. I'm like, I don't got it like that.
Yeah. No, but man, I'm just, you know, I'm just trying to do things that I've seen people. You know, I've seen people do shoe releases, but maybe I'd be like, yo, I wish it released this way. Or I wish it was going this way. I wish that they elaborated a little bit on why this is this way, and they touched the people a little bit more. Man, I've been to pop-ups for brands, and the owner of the brand wasn't even there. Like, I can't even fathom, like, you know, just trusting people that much with the money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just think about it. Like, you're not even just checking in. Like, you know, so it's just like, man, I try to structure everything I do a certain type of hands-on way, and it drives Jason and the team crazy. I bet a lot of people on the outside, you see what we're doing, like I do like a lot of in stores. I do a lot of
I know. I was just about to say, like, it's basic. Like, I mean, Shake does a lot of that stuff around his area too, where it's like if to me it seems we're both hitting the mic. It seems like to me it's community outreach, right? So like you're giving. It's not even a thing where it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm not gonna get the shoe. You're there with like, yo, I got mad pairs. Everybody pull up. Everybody, and it's. I mean, I haven't been to. I mean, I missed out on the flower pot drop, so I was just like, oh man, I wish I could. But you could see it on the line. Everybody's talking to each other. Nobody's like, oh, you know, I'm all the way in the back. I'm not gonna get a pair. So
I believe in myself with the utmost, and I just think that I believe in my plan and stuff. Like for the flower pop up. I was maybe advised that I brought too many pairs. It was like, no, I brought just enough. Because I don't know, I just learned that with pop-ups in general. Like, bro, like there's so much goes into it. I feel like the first person online and the last person online should have an option to get something.
Yeah.
But you can't protect everything. Like the 8.5 and the 14 may not be there, but they'll be able, like somebody that's online should be able to get something. And to me, it's not about like driving the blogs crazy because we had 40 pairs and it's just people just showed up for pictures, man. Like like I'm not here to do that. I'm here to put the shoes in people's hands, and I'm here to spread the message. I'm here to put them on people's feet. Like I'm here to kind of touch the people. Like we do, like with Saucony, they give me like sometimes the grace periods for me to release the stuff and then go do, and then the stores got to release it. And man, like my first shoe, I was reaching out to the stores, and I didn't even know that there was another way to do that. Like it was like, oh no, you could go through the sales team, or you could go through this and that. And I'm DMing leaders. I'm DMing Wish ATL. I'm like, hey, you guys want to do something with me? I seen you get my shoe and this and that, and I'll come, and I'm paying my own flights, and I'm getting my own hotels and stuff like that. And it's like, it's not that nobody would have did that, paid it for me, but it was like, man, I'm so locked in on the process that we're not even having conversations about travel and budgets and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, you want me to get the vinyls? Because I'll bring them from New York. You want me to get this? You want me to do that? You want me to call a flower people? You want me to make this? You want me to do this? Because, man, I'm so in the game, like locked in, bro. And I just think that that's something that me and Jason kind of talk about a lot when we have dinner and when we chat off kind of like work time. And it's like, I don't think what I did will be appreciated with Saucony till years later when you're seeing everyone like really step into it and say like, nah, bro, like this is my project, and you get the awards and you get the recognition when you see the whole thing through. Like, all this online shock drops up. Nah, man, show up and shake some hands and take some pictures and sign some boxes and kiss some babies, and you know what I'm saying, and sit through. Like, man, I got a project coming up with for hats. I'm about to do something with the NBA, and man, they asked me if I wanted to have a table to just kind of sit there and sign hats and stuff, and I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna be around hanging out with people and just chilling. I don't want to be sitting down signing no hats. And first of all, I don't think I'm that big for people to be online for me to be signing no hats. But I was like, no, man. When
at Complex Con, people asking, I even asked for you to sign the box.
But I'd rather walk around and kind of let people catch me in traffic, catch me at the fish and shrimp truck, like, you know what I'm saying, to make me sign it. Like, I don't want to be sitting behind no table for 45 minutes while somebody tap me on my shoulder like, you gotta go. So like, man, I just try to. I'm so grateful for my opportunities, man. I just try to keep my head in the game and do the work, man. The price of good work is more work. And like, we kind of started getting into this over like the lists and stuff. Like, I appreciate the recognition. Last year, Saucony sent me that same list, and it was like, yo, you should have been on it. And I was like, nah, like I got to prove more to myself. So just to be able to just be mentioned and that stuff, it's cool. Like I let other people argue about where they think I should be, but it's cool. But we just gotta keep doing the work.
No, yeah. I was gonna say the entire time you're mentioning this and like how you do this, how you do your rollouts and stuff like that, I'm thinking like this motherfucker hip hop, bro. That's all, that's all.
But I think a lot of things is parallel, man. I learned from a lot of people that someone who was a student of the game can learn a little bit about everything. And me and my friends, we joke a lot about like how much content I kind of retain and how much I watch. But man, I can go watch non-fashion stuff and learn something. I could go watch sports interviews and learn something. I could go watch Vince Staples and Joe Budden and Joe Rogan, and then I could go listen to, TD Jakes. I go listen to, and it's not even just people talking about life. Sometimes it could be just it could be toxic TV. It could be some of these shows, and so you just see how people. You get maybe not that deep, that far left, but I like to learn a little bit about everything. I heard Jay-Z say that one time. Like, you learn a little bit about everything just so you could keep a conversation going.
Yeah, and
it's like I just try to learn a little bit about everybody's walks of life and how they move and how they getting things done, because everybody has a story. But it's like, how do you keep the best parts of everything and just keep it into your emotion? Like, man, I tell people all the time, like, I didn't make it in music, but a lot of things that I learned through music is how I'm navigating this stuff. And that's just how to carry yourself. I walk into sneaker stores like I'm walking into Madison Square Garden. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I walk in head high, picture ready, like just all this stuff, because you never know who's watching. You never know who traveled to come see you, come meet you, come get an autograph, come talk to you. Like, now I'm at the point where people are like asking me to like give advice to their kids and stuff in the barbershop and stuff. And I appreciate it, man, because you have to really like show up ready to work every day.
No, yeah, that the hardest part is definitely reaching outward, and when you've come to a point where you also have to. And I mean, when I had Jamerson on, I also talked to him about you have to celebrate your wins too. Because if you don't, then who's gonna celebrate them for you? You know.
Yeah, but I also look at the world too. Like, man, I look at it like, what is my win? I think my win is getting my idea out.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I'm able to tell my idea and I'm able to really like successfully roll things out the way that I visioned it on my mood board, then that's my win. So I try to celebrate those moments. But when you see the results and when you see people really excited, that's when I fist pump and I'll be like, yeah, nah, it worked. It's good. It's good. But it's like people got to be gentle to themselves. A lot of people are super hard on themselves.
Oh yeah, for sure. We got to be kinder to ourselves. I always think that, you know, like, I think we push ourselves to the brink where we feel like we shouldn't be doing this, and we always end up like pivoting or doing this next thing. And you're like, you didn't want to, like, you should probably take the time to like actually put yourself in this, see it through. And then if it doesn't work out, you know, you can move on. But once, like, I mean, I've told this before where it's just like when I first started this podcast, I was like, idea's great. This shit gonna go crazy. It's gonna go crazy the first 3 months. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be the next Rogan. And it went nowhere. So it's just like, I almost dropped it, but I was just like, nah, man. If I believe in myself, like you believe in yourself, we're gonna keep pushing, you know, keep pushing forward. We're gonna see the seeds become into flowers and stuff like that.
For sure, man. For sure. Like one thing that like I know that will happen now is I see a lot of people in like the hat game. I see a lot of people at my drops, like when I look at old footage and look at stuff. Now be people dropping their own hats. Yeah. Like a lot of those people that was asking for pictures and stuff at my first few pop-ups, now like you'd be like, oh, they doing their own thing. And I know that's gonna happen now with a lot of like people on Twitter that's in like the sneaker space and doing things. Like that opportunity is gonna come for these Nike rolls and other stuff. And it's like I want to see how people really like change. Like be like, oh, that was my boy that was doing this. So I remember he always be here and now he's head of concept. So you know what I'm saying? You never know. Like you never know how things going. And like me, I tell everybody all the time, like you just gotta be ready. Like, you know, you stay ready so you don't gotta get ready.
You were recently in France doing your thing. What was I've never been, but I've never like how do you explain it from the eyes of a New Yorker that you actually and you had your own installment this time. The billboard was fire. I was like, yo, man, like the one thing that needs to be happening more and I do see it specifically with you is that people are like they're giving you the props as you getting your flowers as you're doing your things, you know.
I appreciate that.
You know, and I feel like a lot more people should do that, and especially for your friends, you know, like just do it for your people so that they can always keep going. But like what was like France this time around?
Man, summer in Paris is a lot different than, which sounds like a flex me even saying it. Summer in Paris is a lot different than winter in Paris. Yeah. So, you know, last Fashion Week I was with Saucony. I was like the host of their showroom. I did a ton of press, ton of interviews. Pretty much didn't even get a chance to like leave. I was so tired from people just want to know the story, want to know my journey and stuff. But this time I was able to kind of like, you know, dip out and go to events and see people, be seen. Like, you know, pop into different things. And it's kind of like that South by Southwest feeling. It's like the people that were in Paris during this time, like, you know that they're just a little bit more like advanced in what they do. Like you just kind of like speaking to people and they're just like, oh, I'm a copywriter for this brand, or I work on a design team for this brand and stuff. And you just, you know, you're like, oh, like it, like this is the thick of it. Like there's not even no filler in here. Like this person telling me they created director for this and that, and they did this shoot, and like people smiling in front of their work and stuff. You just like, oh, that must be that brand. It must. So it was cool to be around that. Like being at restaurants and the table next to you is like the Nike team or the Hoka team or this and that. Like it was cool. Like just being around it. But it's also, bro, I'm a Bronx dude. So I wake up and I'm marching my own beat. I want to kind of get around culture a little bit. I need to kind of regroup and be by myself, and I need to do certain things. But it's like I'm stepping into a lot of these moments and I'm cool with it being like just big for my city. I'm like, yo, if I go out there and I leak shoes, and I told Jason, I was like, I'm gonna come out there and I'm gonna wear I'll post the 10 Omni. I'll wear the Matrix and stuff like that. He didn't know I was gonna bring both Matrix.
Yeah.
So I think I kind of shocked him when I brought the blue one. But he
knew
I
love those. Those I love. So
those. he knew that I was gonna come out there and try to make some noise. But it's like, to me, it's like everything I do, man. It's like, yo, this looks good on my city, man, because people in my city still see me walking to Dunkin' Donuts. And it's like, now I'm in Paris on the side of a building and just trying to, just live it up.
That's sick. All right. So we're going towards the end of the podcast. I always ask another question at the end, and it deals with a little bit of reflection. So I know you're going to have a lot to say to yourself. But I want you to go back and think about when you're about to cop the OG Chicago 13s, right? Your young self is about to open that box, but now you're transported back in time behind yourself. What would you tell your younger self as he opens that box?
I would just kind of tell myself to just, I would say just live in it a little bit more. Growing up, I was very hard on myself, whether I wanted to play for the Yankees or I wanted to play for the Knicks, or I wanted to just be at home and play games all day. But it's also like, I've learned a lot about me being in my 30s now, about it all mattered. It all mattered. And I just think that I would just kind of tell myself at that age, just be more gentle to yourself. I don't think that I've made any wrong turns or anything in my life. I would probably say, like, just try to be more happier and stuff like that. Like, it's not like I didn't grow up and, I was getting no belt upside my head or nothing like that every day. But it was just, I just thought that, like, I needed to kind of like be cool, or like you would have a bad day. And it's like, nah, just be on your, you know what I'm saying? Just live into your world, and the world will return its love back to you.
Yo, perfectly said. Let everybody know where to find you, and if you want to, you can drop find the release of the release date.
You can find me everywhere. JTips, JAETIPS. I try to tell people all the time, like even though we're living in this moment, this is going to be a moment in time where people kind of look back on things and they give context to my journey and your journey, and you're looking at this before like a release. We're real close to a release. So it's like, now you're going to be looking at it like, what did he foreshadow? What did he say? This and that. They put him where on the list? Did you see what he just did? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just want to tell people, just keep following the journey, follow the story. And, I got a lot more than what you've seen already. So, let's just keep it going.
The journey is going to be amazing. I love how you moving. I'll always give you your props whenever I see you. And you know where to find me. I am Who Is Haas on all social media. Follow the podcast at My First Kicks Pod. Follow the podcast on TikTok and YouTube, My First Kicks. And if you are listening to this, you're probably just going to have to go to YouTube. And watch us have this real interaction in real life in the studio. And, if you have a My First Kick story, hit me up, myfirstkickspod@gmail.com. Appreciate you, JTips, for
you already know I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me,
this
man.
This is fun. And for everybody out there, what we say each week, wear your kicks.
Yeah.
Peace.